let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up on today's episode, this week's episode of Wrestling for the Culture, I welcome in the one and only Keeks the Queen. Coming up, like
the Wrestling Wrealm presents Wrestling for the Culture, where we highlight pro wrestlers and pro wrestling personalities of color. Here's your host, Brian H. Waters.
What's going on? Thank you. Welcome to Wrestling for the Culture. First and foremost, before we get into the conversations about fun side and all the stuff you're doing, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It is a great day. It's hot in Dallas, but I'm feeling good, feeling lovely on this Tuesday.
I felt the need to ask you because as I've been working all day and as I've been where I can't have the time to scroll onto the timeline, I've been seeing you arguing with trolls all for the last 48 hours. I've been seeing you put this one and that one in their place. What's going on? Why is everybody coming for you?
Because I guess I don't know. She's a woman. Let's make her cry. Let's make her intimidated. She's black. She's about to be sensitive. Let's just get one up off of her until I just keep going. Then let me block her.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, no. You almost on Kevin Owens status where you do obviously you don't do this, but it would seem like you reply more to the trolls than the positive comments.
It's fun. And I'm just like this when I'm responding to it, just be laughing.
Oh, I believe it. I've seen you take people to church. I've seen you I've seen you, tell people where they can go, and then they tell you, well, you gonna go to hell. You was like, well, I'm gonna dance and all this other stuff. And I'm like, y'all not giving up, y'all can't get to it.
You can't, no matter how hard you try.
But yeah, so I gotta ask you this question. I always like asking everybody this question. What's your first wrestling memory? When did you get into the wrestling business as a fan?
Oh, as a little girl. Well, first and foremost, it started because my mom was a huge wrestling fan too. So she was watching wrestling, and I was watching with her. I always watched with her as a kid. And we was watching. I'm trying to remember what exactly the match was.
Shout out to your mother. Didn't she come on the when you was on the BRP?
Yeah, she interrupted. Interrupted when I came.
I remember because I never forget. I was in Walmart. I forgot where I was coming from. I think I might have been like coming from shooting a wedding or something. But I was listening to the episode, and I saw like I think I was listening, and I heard like y'all, and I heard she jumped in.
She always do that. She interrupted and they asked her questions and she answered. But yeah, I'm trying to remember if it was like a Shawn Michaels match. Mm-hmm. Sorry, my dog. I was trying to remember if it was a Shawn Michaels match or it had to be. I think it was a Shawn Michaels match, but I don't recall who he was fighting. But it was so long ago. It was so long, but what really got my attention was WCW.
Oh, it's starting to make
sense. Cruiserweight division.
Okay.
That's when I first became a Jericho fan.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so was he like your number one? Any other ones from that cruiserweight division that stood out?
He was my number one. When I tell you I was a Jericho stan, I was a Jericho stan. Like, I stopped watching WCW when he came to WWF stand.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, so how did you feel about that?
I was happy at the debut. I was out. And when he became the first Undisputed, I could not wait to go to school the next day. Because people used to make fun of me for being a Jericho fan. Like, oh, you like a mid-Carter. He's not The Rock. He's not Stone Cold. She likes this mid-Carter. So what? And then when he beat The Rock and Stone Cold, I could not wait to go to school with my Jericho-holic shirt.
It's funny you bring that up. Shout out to my boy Brandon, my big brother. He's like when you remember? I'm pretty sure you probably had the tape, right? The first Chris Jericho tape. So you remember how when you watched it, they had like Jerichoholic number 1003, Jerichoholic number 4. I always say like he was number 1, right? When we was in high school, he was telling me, yeah, Jericho's my favorite, this, that, and the other. And then he's 3 years older than me, so I was in 9th grade, he was in 12th. So he went to college. I remember talking to him like after Jericho won the title, and he was like the most excited person. And I always make a joke with him because he'll always create a scenario. Like if Jericho was to come back to WWE right now, he would create a scenario how Jericho should beat Roman Reigns. I know he's gonna laugh when he watched this. We actually just talked about this yesterday when Jericho signed his Intercontinental Championship. He signed it like 8 times. He's like, no, Jericho, you 9. He goes, no, I don't count the one with China. He said, I'm an 8-time champion. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. But it's funny to hear you say that. Now, you start off at like WCW. When did you decide that? Well, no, before we get there, what was the first live show you attended?
The first live show we attended, it was a Raw, Monday Night Raw, when it came to Dallas, when we used to have the Reunion Arena. That was my first live show, and that was in 1999. Wow. Had to be 99.
You was in the thick of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, because on BRP, my mom was explaining how she used to stand in line for a long time to get the tickets.
That's something today's kids would never understand.
Right.
My first show wasn't until 2004, even though like born in 86 and my parents like knew, like I was a wrestling fan literally since birth, but my mother would brag to me about how she used to go, where my dad would be like, oh, I don't like crowds. So they would order the pay-per-views rather than send me. Now, when did you decide like that you wanted to like really get in the business and be a part of it?
2 years ago.
What took you so long?
To be honest, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know what took me so long. I was a fan for so long, but I really don't know what took me so long to join. But I'm happy that I did. It's a headache, but I met some great people, so I'm very happy that I'm joined. I don't know what it took me so long, but I'm here now.
Yeah, I always say this, and you probably see me tweet. I always have it saying like, "Where was everybody?" Right when, you look at the photo, which I know we're gonna do another one in Dallas. I'll show you my camera, so it's out of reach. Like I'm gonna be prepared, but
you with like, me, so you can be as relaxed you want to. You know me.
No, I was looking for my camera, but the thing is, like when I look at like the images of us all together, right? I always have the saying like, "Where was everybody?" Now, when you was coming up, were you surrounded by a lot of other Black wrestling fans, and especially other Black little girls that were wrestling fans?
Well, yeah. I mean, because I'm in Texas, so
okay.
Wrestling is life out here too. It's like another sport. So yeah.
Gotcha.
It's just the issue is ever since the Sportatorium was knocked down a long time ago, people don't really come to the inner cities with the indies, except it started happening around 2 years ago. People kind of now starting to go back to the inner cities for Black kids and Hispanic kids, because we like wrestling too, but nobody want to go way to the sundown towns to go see some wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people like to say, okay, it's a white man's sport. I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's just because most of the time they're the one with the pen and they can control the way things, the narratives, and they can say, all right, well, we can put our guys ahead, we can put our guys up front, and I think that's what reason why it comes off that way. But I went to a show in Philly, and my friend Vanessa, who was a white woman, she said to me, she just knew when we walked in there because we was on a work trip and WWE SmackDown happened to be in town, and she was like, she just knew it was gonna be a bunch of white people. She's like, Brian, for the longest time, I thought you was the only black person that was in the wrestling, but we were surrounded by a bunch of black people. So, and you know, so I think it's just that a lot of times because of the way, you know, like I said, the power of the pin, and then you know, so these tickets, especially front row seats, can be expensive. So a lot of times you can't see a lot of us as much as you know we would like. Now, how did you feel? You being a WCW lady, how did you feel in March 2001 when WCW went under?
I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I feel like we needed more wrestling. Like, it's not fair to put them all in one business. But then I was a kid, so I was kind of excited that, okay, we're going to see Goldberg against one of the, you know, we always fantasy booked this before. So I was kind of excited about that. But then Sting and them never came during the time that, because I really want that Undertaker Sting match, but it never happened. The one fantasy booking that never happened. So,
you know, for me, I was never big Sting versus Undertaker. It was always like Sting versus The Rock. And, you know, that's weird. Yeah, I didn't. The thing with Sting versus The Undertaker didn't really come up to me till way down the line. You know, it was always Goldberg and Stone Cold, obviously Rock and Hogan. But yeah, Sting and Rock, like that was the match I wanted to see. Or, you know, unfortunately, we got it not the way we wanted it. Sting and Triple H, you know. But now, you know, time moves along. You know, you've been preaching about this fun side, and before we hit the record button, I told you that you know, y'all had some world champions, and now y'all got somebody who's just walking around with the belt.
He just had a match last week.
Yeah, he did. He's what I mean, walking around with the belt. He's now, but in all seriousness, you know, he is putting on good matches. I ain't gonna sit there and be.
Yeah. Don't do Adam Page.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Did you immediately take to AEW as soon as it came out, or did it take a while before it became side and you actually became the president of the fun side?
It took me. At first, I was like, okay, let me be open about this because we done had TNA. So let me be a little open. It took me a little bit in the middle of 2019 to be like, okay, I kind of see something in this. It could be something. It's a little different because they got more money in it. So I was just like, okay, this got potential. And then I had the same little complaints that y'all was saying. They just need to fix certain things. And then they started fixing them. So I'm just like, okay, they fixing this stuff early. That's a good sign.
They fixed?
Huh?
What would you say they fixed?
Tony finally putting his foot down, being a boss. That was one of my things. I was just like, okay, don't let people, you know, make these decisions that you need to be making. He fixed that early. So I was just like, okay, that's a good sign.
Okay.
That's always a good sign. He fixed it early. And he kind of started Vince McMahon stuff.
I mean, you know, Vince, he's played with his own money. So it's a reason, like, it might have been Scott Hall it was X-Pac who said he never thought Vince would lose just on the simple fact that he was playing with his own money. He was going to do whatever it took to go all the way to the wall with that war. I want to ask you this, you being an AEW loyalist, and so I think your answer is obviously going to be different from mine for obvious reasons. But I'm about to ask you, how do you feel when you see the Keith Lees, the Swerve Stricklands, the Tony Neeses, the Adam Coles coming over to AEW? How do you feel?
It makes me feel no different.
Okay.
I feel like that's more of their territory. Like people always, AEW ain't nothing but a big indies thing. That's fine with me. That's their lane. That's what makes them different. You don't want them to try to be just identical as WWE. That's what makes the product different. We want to keep it different, but provide something to the table, So I feel like something like that, but I really feel like Tony needs to belong in NWA. That's just my opinion. But
you're right. You do seem more like an NWA guy.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. Keith Lee, I feel like he's a good fit there. Adam Cole, of course. I mean, his buddy's there, so yeah, it fits.
Yeah, I was disappointed when he left. I'm a loud, proud WWE fan and mark or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't mean I don't like any other wrestling,
Right.
But
right.
But you kind of like Adam Cole was somebody I wanted to see. I think I said by WrestleMania like 39, he would be in the main event.
Yeah.
So now, even though I think he's gonna go back.
I wanted that too.
I think he'll go back. But what I am seeing, I've said this last week, the people that are available now wasn't available when AEW started. Right. So like when I hear like some of the people, there's a lot of people there that I just don't pay attention to, right? Like I don't pay attention to the Dark Order. I told you how I feel about Jurassic Park.
Express.
Whatever. I don't like none of them.
Why?
They not for me. It's just I don't get moved. But considering how over they are with the fans, that's a reason to put the titles on them.
Yeah.
I just they don't do it for me. But like looking at it, and I'm saying like, okay, some of those people wouldn't have been there. People like MJF. MJF would have been there. He's still standing. He's running. Bryan Danielson is my favorite of all time. And even with him being my favorite of all time, I was happy to see him go because I felt like he had kind of like maxed out everything he was going to do in WWE.
Yeah.
And so that's what was cool. But it would have been interesting to see. I think we would have had more of a fair fight in this fake war because I don't really think it's a war. But I think we would have had more of a fair fight if this would have happened like in 2015 when the Indies was at its peak. When you had your Kevin Owens, your Adam Coles, unfortunately before Jay Briscoe went on the internet, maybe the Briscoes would have been on there. I think that's would have been cool, but I'm interested to see how things move forward. But it's still, it's of seriousness though. Like I like trolling you about, how the champion is boring to me. It's not. It's
he's getting the Drew McIntyre treatment, man.
Well, that's not.
Y'all not fair to y'all are not fair to the faces.
See, no, you know what though? Drew was cool. I give Drew credit for holding it down during the pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately for him, by the time things went back to live audience, he had already wore out his welcome. And it would have been nice to see. It was nice to see he get that pop in the Thunderdome. But everybody was happy because he beat Lesnar, and everybody was tired of Lesnar holding the title.
Yeah,
but Adam Page, like I said, for me, it's always because I want to see him. I want to feel like he's the most important part of the show at the end of the day. And right now I feel like MJF is the most important part of the show.
Well, why y'all feel like that though? Because of the John Cena effect. It still has PTSD on y'all. But that's
okay. No, okay. Well, let's go into it, right?
Okay.
You can say that about John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. They all felt like they're the most important part of the show, right? Now, I've been watching 97, Monday Night Raw 97, right? I didn't feel that way about The Undertaker. The Undertaker was not the most important part of the show because Stone Cold was coming. Shawn Michaels, even though he was by this time like a tweener, but he was this is when the Bret and Shawn era, that was like that stuff felt more important.
Right.
Even with WCW, when Babyface Sting was champion, I felt like he was the most important part of the show. You know, Goldberg, the same thing. And that's the thing. I don't feel that way about Adam Page. You know, his wrestling is there without a doubt. Like, you'd be a fool to say the guy can't go, especially see his growth. But I just want to see him in that feud where I want to see him in the feud where it's like he's the guy that I want to see overcome. You know, and I feel like he could do that as champion. And you know, it is the first title reign, and you know, a lot of times it does take us a while to get used to that first championship reign in wrestling. You know,
but if
you
pay attention, it's kind of slowly getting there. It's always a tale with cowboys. When they get gold, they become easily not turn into a heel, but they become possessed of the gold. And they kind of doing that story with him in Dark Order, how he's been kind of neglecting them.
Yeah.
And the way that he looks when he wins a match is not the pure Adam Cole. I mean, not Adam Cole, but Adam Page. Too many
That's
Adams.
another problem. Too many Adams. Too many Adams and too many Pages.
So what you're looking for at Adam Page, it may happen like right before they give the title to somebody else.
Okay.
Because I kind of see that Cowboy story is always there. They come real possessed. That's always been their weakness. Cowboys' weakness has always been gold.
See, you know, this is why I like having these conversations, because now I'm gonna be looking for that, paying attention, because I was a little confused on the whole thing with Dark Order, where it felt like he was embracing them, but then it felt like he wasn't. You know, to me, kind of like watching, I got the effect of where, remember how like Mankind and The Rock was like too cool for Mankind. That's how I felt. Like he was too cool to be a part of them, but he's still a nice guy, so he didn't want to just kick them to the curb.
That's what he's doing right now.
So you think we'll see him become a tweener?
Eventually. I'm telling you, just wait. Eventually.
All right, I'm taking your word for it. Who do you see taking the title from him?
They're going to give it to MJF.
Really? This soon? Okay.
It may be MJF, or maybe Jon Moxley will be the first two-time AEW champion.
Got you. Now we're going to drop this before Wednesday. I'm going to drop it sooner. Now, do we get a new champion, a new women's champion? Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker.
Absolutely. She wants to win it at home. In a cage match, they definitely giving it to Thunder Rosa. My granny gonna be down there.
Oh yeah. Now, are you a fan of either two ladies?
I am a fan of Thunder Rosa, so I'm ready for her to get the belt. Britt Baker, she's good on the mic. She's okay in the ring. Like, she's definitely better than what she was at first. But it's time for her. If anybody is walking around here now wrestling nobody, is her. The stuff that you saying about Adam Page, that's Britt Baker. What, she had like 6 matches?
I've been bored with her title reign after a month, but I'm trying to be patient.
She had like about 6 matches. Probably about 6.
But 7. I mean, yeah, that's Pittsburgh for you. But no, but you know, I think it'd be nice to see a new champion. How you feel about Scorpio Sky being the TNT champion?
I was so happy. I knew he was gonna get it though. They planned on giving him that since last year. I knew he was gonna get it.
So what took him so long?
Well, you know, he did get hurt. He was out a little bit when he did get hurt. And so, you know, they got to always kind of make sense. They don't want to just, you know, so that, and then plus Ethan Page with his, because, you know, he's not a citizen. So Yeah, he officially moved to the States. So between him and his traveling and Scorpio Sky getting back, you know, because when he injured, they had to put him on dark for a little bit so he can get back, you know, the momentum back. So they had to wait on that. And then they finally got him in the belt. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the growth of Ethan Page. When I started in the business 10 years ago, I was working with this company called Real Championship Wrestling here in Baltimore. And him and Josh Alexander were a tag team, and they were green, but they would drive from Canada to come to that show. And my boy who was booking, he was telling, like, he was like, yo, like, these guys are legit, you know, and you can see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, it's always interesting.
Josh is Impact though.
Huh?
I just feel like Josh is too good for Impact, but that's just me.
Oh, Josh been like that for years. Like,
he's too good for Impact.
I you know, the thing I wish about Impact, I wish it was on a regular, like a station that was available everywhere.
Yeah,
because I can't get it here. Then, like, I was trying to watch it on Twitch, but the commercials, the same commercials, it got annoying. But I wish it was more accessible. Like when it was.
He a multi-millionaire and he being cheap with his product. That's what he doing. He don't want to spend. He do not want
it's like
much.
It's annoying, you know, because they have a lot of good talent over there. You know, Tasha Steele, saw she was beating up Mickey James. So I want to be able to see these people.
Got all that money, and he don't want to. No, that costs too much. We're fine. That costs too much.
Yeah,
no, I'm not gonna do that.
Well, that's, you know, when people, you can see who's like really passionate, and then who like wrestling is just like a toy for.
And we don't need owners like that.
Now, you know, I want to talk about you and your career. What's your ultimate goal? Like, if you could, I'm gonna ask you this: if you could call a match with anybody, who would it be?
Definitely between Pat McAfee and also Excalibur.
Wow. Now I'm also thinking about like the three of y'all calling it together. That would be one interesting. What would the match be? If you could pick a dream match, anybody, anywhere.
It would have to be a Roman match, just so I can get on Pat's nerves.
Oh, you gonna cut up?
He do that move like 5 times.
Wait a minute, you
do the same maneuvers. What you excited about? You seen it already.
You ain't want to acknowledge the tribal chief.
Well, okay.
But you want to talk about you going to night 2?
It's WrestleMania, so of course I want to go,
but you keep saying
night 2
is
better than night 1 right now.
Night 1 got the women's matches,
but they got Miz over there. I don't want to see the Miz. I hate him. I don't want to see the Miz.
Why?
I cannot stand the Miz. Ugh.
That's how he's so good at his job. He was on NXT tonight doing his thing.
It's just something about his face. It's just something about how he talk. I cannot get with you. I tried and I was like, I don't. That's how I feel about Edge. I don't want to see him, but I'm gonna have to see him on Sunday because I like AJ Styles.
You don't like Edge?
Edge and Miz, I cannot stand them too.
Wow.
Christian is better. I love me some Christian. I always love Christian.
Christian was phenomenal. It's just he wasn't Edge. Like if they didn't come in together, you know.
I don't remember Edge. None of Edge's title run.
Come on now, you don't remember the first one?
Nope. I don't remember none of it. The only thing I remember is him going to ECW and Paul Heyman said, "Everybody hide your wives." It's Edge. That's all I remember.
Well,
sorry.
That ruthless aggression era was very
I love that era. That's my favorite.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't like Edge.
I don't like Edge, but I like ruthless aggression era.
See, I feel like a lot of it was a lot of forgetful stuff in there.
Not that many.
The Attitude Era gave us moments. The Ruthless Aggression Era gave us matches.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to remember more? I'm pretty sure most people, they'll remember moments from their first show before they remember matches from their first show.
Well, yeah, I was little, so yeah, I'm gonna remember the moments.
Bingo.
But I remember some matches too from Ruthless Aggression Era.
Yeah, but like, okay, true, right? But to me, it was like you go back and watch some of the stuff, like, oh yeah, yo, this was a great match. But we always remember the beer truck, Jericho's debut, Rock praying to God about Billy Gunn. We always remember the moments.
Yeah.
That Ruthless Aggression, you know, Edge and Lita. I remember John Cena throwing Edge off of the top of the ladder and then getting scared because he thought he hurt him for real. You know, but that's a whole nother situation. The Attitude Era.
The John Cena and Kurt Angle. You had Jericho and Shawn Michaels. That little rivalry. That was my favorite. WrestleMania 19 was low key a good one too.
So we did huh?
But I love 17. It's nothing like WrestleMania 17. That was just, I don't know what Paul Heyman was on when he booked it, but they need it desperately now.
So that's the last one I watched with my grandmother. She had passed away that July, and what I remember that night. So she had ordered it, but because she had just had surgery not too long ago, she couldn't go upstairs, and the dummies from the cable company put it on that TV because at that time it was digital cable.
Yeah.
So then the next day, my boy Brandon came to school. He had the tape in the locker room. So like, and then my uncle had a tape when I got home. So like a day or two later, my mother, I think, was getting her hair done. So I went to my grandmother's house and we sat there and watched like WrestleMania 17. And like you said, it's just like, I mean, when you go back and look at that card from start to finish, it was like everything was set up. I think with WrestleMania 19, because we did the on season 2 of the Wrestling Round, we talked about it. And because we did our top 5 WrestleManias, and I remember when me and Dwayne was going through the card, he's like, "Wait a minute, this was a really good WrestleMania." I said, "Yeah, I told you so."
Yeah,
because you see, like any of those, I call them the 5 main events. Any of them could have closed the show,
right?
And it would have been fine, you know. Part of the reasons that like Bruce Pritchard has annoyed me is because he's like tries to excuse what happened with Triple H and Booker T. And my whole thing was, if you wasn't gonna put the title on him, you didn't have to go that far in the promos. You saw Bryan Danielson didn't go that far with Kofi, and he was doing the favor. But overall, though, that WrestleMania was just still great, you know. And especially even like it was so much storytelling, like you know Hogan and Vince, you know Rock and Austin, and I think that if Brock Lesnar hits that shooting star press, I think more people would say that was the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
Yeah,
I think if he would hit that, because the match was good without it, people tend to forget because that's the only thing they remember.
Yep, it's like what was it? What Bubba Dudley say is always about certain things that people gonna remember about a match. When I was making fun of the Kenny and Moxley match when they exploded. I was like, how am I gonna defend that?
Yeah, I don't know how you was doing
it. Good in itself until that happened. I'm just like,
that was the thing. And then Eddie Kingston.
Well, we don't talk about that no more. It ain't happening.
No, you brought it up. The oversell for the ages. And I remember like, what is he doing?
You should have seen my face. I was just like, oh, they just embarrassing me. They just love embarrassing me every time.
Yep. You had a good paper. You had a good show. You was good to go, and then boom.
They were scared. They didn't want to kill nobody.
They booked that match. They could have did all other types of matches. They didn't have to do that one.
It was fun and gruesome. I like gruesome matches sometimes. It depends. I have a limit.
When's your next show that you will be working?
I can't say. They told me not to, but I will be in the East Coast.
How are you supposed to sell tickets?
Oh, yeah. Wait, you say Oh, you probably know, but yeah.
Okay, say less. Yeah. I'm like, how are you supposed to sell tickets?
Yeah. So I'll be up there a lot. I'll be up there a lot this summer.
Yeah, that's on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. Wait, so you don't have nothing before that?
I may have a couple of local shows in Texas. I was hit up recently, so I may have something in April and also in May. So in Houston and also in Dallas. So yeah.
Promoters, Thunder Rosa,
Jazz
and Rodney Mack. She's available. Booker T. Come on, we need to book black women, support black women. Make sure y'all book her, pay her right. No cheapskates, no free jobs around.
Oh, they know not to play with me about that. But they already know. Oh, no,
you know you gotta pay.
I don't work for no hot dogs.
No hot dogs and handshake.
No bologna sandwich. So you just gonna have to.
You gotta.
They already got the. Let me do this because I don't want to piss her off and put her on Twitter. They already good. I'm glad you know.
That's good. Before we get out of here, unfortunately, we lost the bad guy the other day. Any Scott Hall memories?
It's a lot that hit me. The Scott Hall did hit me a lot. Definitely Shawn Michaels and Scott Hall ladder match. Definitely in WCW. They changed the game. Him and Kevin Nash, they changed it. It's no comparison to Scott Hall. He was one of the greatest non-champions of all time. Like, he's proof that you don't have to be a champion to lead a trademark in anything that you do. One of the greatest intercontinental champions. Just hate he's gone. I can't believe he's gone. It don't sound right. Like Scott Hall's not here.
I was just getting to church on Sunday, and I was setting up the cameras and the sound systems. I pull out my phone, and Corey, my Keeks on my fix, he sent a message in one of our group chats and was like, "Whoa!" And it was like Scott Hall and life support, and I'm like, "Oh, come on, man!" Like, no, and obviously, praying, but good Lord, one of the more, as you tweeted earlier. Hello.
Okay. Sorry, the little one.
You never apologize. That's the children of blessings. I told you yesterday I was working out, and me and my daughter was watching WrestleMania 32, and she was 1 when that match happened. So it was like the first time she saw it, and she was like, "Sasha's gonna win, right?" Like, keep watching. Who gonna win? I'm like, I'm not telling you. You gotta watch. And so she was a little disappointed.
So it's so cool when your kids are into wrestling with you, because I know my kids are too. Like, they was literally having an argument behind Sasha and Bianca. Like,
oh yeah,
the youngest one was yelling, "I like Sasha, though. I like Bianca."
Yeah,
I don't like friend no more. I'm like, okay.
So my son, he was into it, but now he's still watching, but he's still in other things too. My daughter last year during so every year WrestleMania, ever since we've been here, like 35, 36, we would come down, she would watch it. Then she might look at it here and there. But last year was when she stayed with it when Bianca won the belt. Next thing you know, actually, she kind of started watching before with Sasha and Bailey. because she remembered when they like broke up, and then Bianca she was like torn, and I said you gotta make a choice. Like during the entrance, she saw Bianca come out first. That was her favorite. So when I started at the job, the first week they was in Baltimore, so we had got front row seats, and so in the main event that night was on SmackDown was Sasha versus Bianca, so it was a cool moment for her to see her and see that match up close. But yeah, so it's funny because then she'll go on YouTube and look at stuff. It's like, Daddy, did you know Bianca lifted Otis? I'm like, I saw it live when it happened.
Right, we saw it. So like, what age did you start taking them like to actual live shows? Because I'm still I'm waiting till they get a little bit older to start taking them.
So my son, his first show was when we was living in Connecticut. He was 4, and it was the Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank. And on that night, it was the night where like the Miz. It was the night AJ came back and beat Paige for the belt.
Okay.
So yeah, that was his first show, and he would go. So he had been going since he was about 4. My daughter's first show was actually last summer when the Ring of Honor show, because Amber and her daughter was in town, and she ended up getting us tickets. So she was there with Amber's daughter, me, Amber, my homeboy Blake, and my son. So we was all there, and that was like her first wrestler show. But she was like, "Okay, so who am I rooting for?" She, kids don't, unless they know the indie people. It's just like, all right, whatever. But yeah, her first WWE show where she like knew people was last October.
Okay. Well, I'm still trying to, because that's why I like going to AEW sometime. It ain't a lot of kids. But I'm gonna take them eventually. I'm just waiting to see if they're a little older. I'll take them.
Yeah, it's fun, I would say probably like my son. He kind of like at 4 and 5. He was like, I can't see because we was up in the Raptors. But it's the first time he went to NXT it was Father's Day 2017. So he was 7 and a half, and we got front row seats courtesy of Nikki Cross because my homeboy knew her, and so he was excited, and like he'll remember that show more. So it's easier when they can kind of sit a little closer as opposed to being way up, because then it's just like it's hard to keep their attention on the show.
Yeah, they'll lose attention real fast. So I was like, they're not gonna go right now. I'll wait till they get a little older.
Yeah, and house shows are fun for them too. I think it's probably easier because they could, they're more interactive and whatnot.
Yes, because when I did commentating for OTOB that's in Houston, my godchild was there with her mother, and she was into it. Like they was doing like a hardcore match, and one of the tables broke. She picked up the table, and she was into it. So I'm gonna take them to a house show one of these days when my mom goes, because my mom went to Black on 4 Sides, like my mom and my sister, and then went when I commentated there. So
have you thought about doing the indies? Take them to the indie shows?
I might, if I'm booked for a show, probably. But then you're gonna see me take out my headset and be like, hold on, y'all, I'm gonna have to get my bill.
Well, obviously when you're not, I'm thinking more when you're not working.
Right. Go in mama mode real quick.
I mean, especially, somebody like Mia Friday, they would love. Mia Friday, somebody who kids will love that's down there.
Yes, but doing things like this, because my mom likes me seeing it, because she was just like, it was because my mom's a huge Barnards. Now, the black people out here, you cannot say nothing bad about them.
Oh, yeah.
Barnards was all they had out here.
Wow. I saw it. Like I got the WCCW documentary DVD, and they talked about was the first one that died, and they had like it said it was like thousands of people that turned out for his funeral. Was it Carrie? No, I know Carrie wasn't the first.
No, Carrie wasn't the first one. I had to ask my mom. I don't know which one it was. It had to be Kevin. No, it wasn't Kevin.
Oh, I thought Kevin was still living.
No, Kevin's still living. It had to be Carrie.
No, it wasn't Carrie. Carrie died after he was in WWE. So was it David?
Yeah, it had to be
Okay.
David. It was
David
David.
was the one that was supposed to be the champ, and
Yeah,
David.
because
Okay,
they lost their younger brother way before when he got electrocuted, and
yeah.
then I think it was David. Then it was Kerry. Then there was another one. What was the other one that died in New Japan? Like he was in Japan when he died.
See, I thought that was David because he went to do the. I thought David was the one that went to do the show, and
Yeah,
he had a
somebody
stomach
died in
issue.
Japan.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know
know.
people
It's a
probably sitting
tragic
there like,
story.
it's this one, it's this. Yeah. The first time I heard about him I was one day sitting in the kitchen with my grandmother, and you know how like they would have like Dateline and stuff, and it was like one of them small features on the Von Erichs, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I remember them," and she started like kind of giving me a briefer on who they was, and you know, because when I was probably about 4, I can remember watching Texas Tornado versus Mr. Perfect, but I
Yeah,
didn't realize like he was Kerry Von Erich. I just knew him as Texas
yeah,
Tornado. And as a child, I was like, oh, I like that guy. You know, he resembled like the Ultimate Warrior with the flares and all that other stuff. And then all of a sudden, you know, I remember just like sitting around one day, I heard that, you know, he killed himself, unfortunately. You know, but I always like, man, he was the man.
yeah. Mental illness was definitely a thing. It just never was addressed.
Yeah, I
But
couldn't
yeah,
even imagine being one of the surviving brother, because I think he said at one point he had 5 brothers and now he has none, and it's just like, wow, you know.
and he lives in Hawaii. He never stepped foot back in Texas.
Oh, wow.
Now the you have Marshall and his brother. They still in MLW. You
Okay.
know, they still trying to revive the family name in a positive way. They just need to be in a different business, me personally, but you know, so they can showcase because they're really good. They're a good tag team.
Okay.
Really good.
Okay. I was gonna ask you what you think of them?
Yeah, they're really good. I've seen them. They did an indie show one time. I seen them. It was for New Texas Pro at the time. It was really good. They really good. But yeah, he stays in Hawaii. He hasn't been in Texas in a long time since.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him. So
I don't even. I watched the Dark Side of the Ring, and then I listened to like the podcast they do like after the Dark Side of the Ring. So yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I've heard like, you know, just the legacy that the Von Erichs hold,
especially out here. So that's why I'm just like, everybody talk about them, but they don't talk about the impact and what they've done to the community in Dallas. They had programs like for school districts and DISD. It was the reading program. They'll go to schools and inner cities in Dallas, read to the kids, give the kids free tickets to go to the sportatorium to see them wrestle, because they knew that most of their fan base was Black. They had a lot of Black kids as their fans. So it was just like, all right, we're going to do something for the kids.
Yeah.
You can catch them in Martin Luther King Boulevard. Like, everybody knew, hey, you know, they was a big deal. They could walk down the street and won't be touched because they love them. And they, you know, they read the room. You know, hey, these kids love us. We gonna give back to the community. So they had the program until they passed, and the program stopped. So
dang. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm glad. You know, I'm glad you was able to talk about that, because like, you know, we would never know up here.
Yeah. My mom was a big Von Erich, so she used to tell me about all of that stuff that they used to do.
So her being a big Von Erich fan, how does she feel about the Freebirds now?
She liked the Freebirds though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they used to have a song, the theme song. So
yeah, didn't they introduce theme songs to wrestling, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that on one of the documentaries.
Because people just used to come out. Right. They used to just walk out. Like, okay. They used to just walk out the song.
And now look at us on the internet complaining every time somebody's music get changed.
Now, okay, now you know they need to do better with it. All these producers, We have a lot of producers, like up and coming producers, and like all of these musicians. You can do.
You talking about? Did you get your AEW CD?
No, I did not.
But I supported them.
Listen, I told y'all I have. I don't want to listen to. I like lyrical stuff, but I don't want to listen to it all the time. Now, if I can't listen to it, I'm not gonna listen to it. But shout out to them.
Oh, there's some bangers on there.
Yeah, I gotta listen to it.
Yeah, shout out to Monteezy. It's good. It's a good friend of mine. Shout out to Blake. Well, I should call him Blizzy and Sir Tizzy.
Right. And so it's a bunch of them. And
JD Williams. So when you know somebody, it's like, all right, I gotta support it. But it's good. Like even like Nala Rose, she told Blizz, like she was like, I was like, okay, this gonna be cool. She's like, but when she ended up listening to it, she ended up liking it. So she was happy with her song.
So I'm happy for all of them. I hate it caused a bunch of ruckus, but I support it.
I blame y'all commentator because he leaked the story. It's time for the main event.
So did. Goddamn. I'm on his job. I could easily do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. Got heat, brother.
Right. We love you, Mark.
Yeah, nah, yeah. We make it jokes. That's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
But let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me at Dashley Duo 3 on Twitter. It's our podcast page, but it's my page now because my actual page got suspended. So now that's my page / podcast page. Miko let me have it because my page was suspended. You can find me on Facebook on the Talk of Champions group. I will make an Instagram for the last time. I just don't know when, but I will. My last one was hacked. That wasn't me. If you got an inbox asking for some money, that wasn't me. I got hacked. And if you're coming to WrestleMania, I can't wait to meet y'all. And we're going to have some fun. Y'all going to enjoy Dallas.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the one and the only Keeks the Queen. Keeks, I appreciate you coming on today in this episode of Wrestling for the Culture.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.